Um, let's get started. What do you say, Donna? Are you even there?
I'm here. Hello.
All right, it's Wednesday. We are wizards, and it is effing Wizard Wednesday.
Hello.
Channeling in with quantum style through the quantum downs. This is Elf back from vacation. Joining me is
Elf and Dota.
And Bear.
and Vera. Okay. I'm back, guys. What?
We missed you.
Tell me, what did I miss?
Well, Magus Wazir, he made this really cool like stable diffusion bot. I don't know if you saw it, but I meant to talk about this last week. Waz and Jitsi, they went through this is what they did. They went through the entire set of attributes and they typed out a prompt for every attribute and then built a bot that like pastes all those attributes together and like does like a stable diffusion prompt. And there's a Twitter bot of it too. It's amazing. Have you tried it?
Yes, I actually just learned about it this morning, and I had a big conversation with Waz, and I've actually got a lot to say about this thing. So
Okay.
yeah, that's a big thing that I missed. Yeah, I mean, I was gone for like 2 weeks, and I'll just say I spent all morning just catching up on everything that the cult is doing. Yesterday and the day before, I caught up on everything that Magic Machine was doing, and there's just so much. Um, and I'll tell you, there's a pattern that I experienced about four or five times today, and this is what it was. I'd be scrolling through Twitter and Discord, just to see what everybody's up to, and then I would see this little hint of a cool thing, like a piece of art or some intriguing tweet, and then I would dig deeper, and then I would see this entire like well thought out, well executed, enormous project. Um, and then it hits me hard, and I think, how am I just now seeing this awesome thing? um and I feel like an ass for like not paying attention, because these projects have been going on for going on for weeks. So let me give you a few examples. Number one, while I was gone, the Heroes of Cumberland mint happened. um this is one that I did know about, but yeah, I missed the mint, and so I'm looking over the Cumberland Heroes, and they're just beautiful. Maxwell sent me a custom, and I really love the color palettes on these characters. Especially considering the abomination that bred them, i.e., the whole Cucum Dog thing. But yeah, the Heroes of Cumberland are beautiful. I'm sure you guys have seen those. The mint is still happening if you haven't. You've seen them, right, Dota?
Oh yeah, yeah. I minted a handful, and I have some. I don't know if you also saw, but the Baron Court launched the Desert Bestiary. Did you see these?
I have not
Where
seen that. No.
it's a whole collection of desert familiars for warriors or
Uh,
desert companions.
oh
Yeah,
my god. Okay. Okay. Yeah. There's
and
just so much going on.
it's a perfect example of dynamic NFTs, which we spent some time talking about last week, which was this idea that, like, Baron Court invented an entire set of warrior companions, but there's no good way for you to show them on your original warrior NFT. So that was something that will be have to be addressed.
Yes, it will.
I was gonna say, Elf, are you surprised at all of the things that are going on? I don't think so.
Well, I mean, yes and no. It's just like I know our community is the most prolific, most creative, most talented, most amazing community out there, but it still always exceeds my expectations. Um, Here's a few other examples. Crucifor, who is just always making cool stuff, has this like I don't even know what it is exactly, but it's called I think it's called I David: The Body Adventures of a Knockabout Wizard. And like that title alone is just fantastic. Crucifor, if you want to come up and like tell us more about it. But like, it like again, it's like I've been seeing the art for this thing, for I don't know, maybe a month. And I'm just now digging in and like realizing this is a whole project that Crucifor has going on. And I'm just now like digging into it, and it's amazing. So I minted something from that. Um and then there's this other amazing thing called Pantheon Vidalis by Taro. Do you guys know what this is?
I saw it.
Yeah.
I don't fully understand it just yet.
Okay, okay, yeah. I just like dug into this today, but I know he's been working on it for weeks. So first of all, the website itself is just beautiful. It's very clean, it's very simple, but then the design of the website contrasts really well with the NFTs that he's got going, which are these like rough, like really sculpted, just like digital sculptures. And from what I can tell, it's like you can bid on a you bid on a commission, and so if you win the bid, then he's gonna like sculpt your wizard in this awesome style, and then it's like a hero sitting in the pantheon of Vidalis, and it's just beautiful. So I made a bid on this morning. I hope nobody outbids me. I think it has like 20 hours left. Um, and then yet another thing that has been going on for weeks that I'm just now digging into is this questing thing that Feral of Untamed has going on Twitter. I feel like the whole cult knew about this except me. Dota, I think you even participated. Like one of them was like, what three fictional characters best describes you?
Oh yeah, that was so fun. That was a really, really fun get to know you exercise too, because I felt like I understood the cult members who participated better after that. Like, just such a simple like format was so helpful to understand people.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. And then today there was it was something like name your ingredients for a potion. And so I participated in that one today. But I think Wild Mage is going to do this like once a week. But again, it's just like there's another big project that I'm just now discovering. And then another one is Snoop Dogg has like a kids art contest, and this is something that Snoop Dogg asked me about, like I think it was like a month ago. In fact, he asked me to judge the contest, but like I'm just now remembering it's happening, and I'm just now seeing the entrance in this contest. And Dota, I think one of your kids has made an entry, right?
Yep, yep. My daughter had an entry, and we talked about this last week too, which was it was such a microcosm of like the positive reinforcement effects that this community has because my daughter shared her picture and then she was just sitting over my shoulder like waiting for anyone to make comments and then there were people like Emma and Sammy Kitty and Tanya Del Rio all making these like really specific like comments. Like one, I think Tanya took a picture of the goat head in the ground and was like, "Oh, I love the goat skull," and it was just
Yep.
so wholesome.
Totally, yeah, yeah. So I wanted to dive into this for a second. So yeah, Dota's daughter made some really great pieces. I think Emma was like "Cucumb family," and that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then SPZ's child Ingrid, age 5, did a really great portrait of Sorcerer Elias. Really nice use of color, really great technique. Um, and then Meeple Dad's age 4, did a really great portrait of Hedge Wizard Lucinda of the Road, complete with the rose. And then Snoop Dogg's, I think two children here, Adam age 11 and Theo age 8, did a real two really great pieces. One of Merlin's staff, like casting a spell, and then one of them was a like this amazing clay sculpture that's like built on top of a watercolor painting. A really nice mixed media piece. Um, And then vmark.eth, their child did a really great portrait of Impy of the Toadstools and Slater of Imps, or Slater Sword of Imps. Um, then Crucifor's child Alfie, age 5, did a really great portrait of a kobold warrior. Simayor has 2 entries from Davy, age 2.5, and Scout, age 2.5, of an unknown creature and Ramona Flowers. And then Noah Eth, age 17, has 3 entries. Noah, I think this tree you drew is my favorite piece. I would encourage you to do more things in that style. Super cool. And then Wavy's child, age 10, did this really great pixel head of one of the Brain Drain characters. Um, so if you know a young artist, I would encourage them to enter this art contest. And I have the unenviable task of judging the winners of this contest eventually. But yeah, it's a great idea by Snoop Dogg. I can't wait to see what else we get entered into this.
Yeah,
Um,
hop over into the Kids Summer Art channel if you want to see the visual imagery, because I don't think we've tweeted out all of those. But they're really fun.
yeah, they're so great, and I think there's even cash prizes for the winners.
Oh, there
Uh,
should be some pretty good prizes. That'll be
yeah,
great.
yeah,
Yeah, maybe we'll have to sweeten the pot.
yeah, for sure. Um, and then yeah, finally, like you opened with Dota, the Dream Master thing that Wazir made. It just blew my mind today. 2 weeks ago I talked about AI art, and I've got a lot more to say about this one. But I don't know. I feel like I've been talking a lot. Dota or Bear, do you have anything to add into the projects I just
Oh,
went over?
you know what? We had to talk so much the last 2 weeks. Everyone's just really happy to hear your voice that you didn't get eaten by a rhinoceros. So no, let's talk about the Deep Dream Master.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I have 1,000 things to say about it. Okay, first of all, here's why I love it. Because it's a bot from bottom to top. So we've got this whole slew of AI art machines out there, and they will artificially create art for you, but they still require a human to give a text input. But Waz has automated that part too, and I guess Jitsi helped with this. So it's this bot that gives the text input and makes the art and automatically posts to Twitter. It's just like it's a full automaton showing us its dreams. And who better than a dream master to build this thing? Um, and so one of the things I think about is this ever expanding reach of AI and how it keeps dipping into territories that we thought were reserved exclusively for humans. Um, and it gets into these territories, and then humanity has to recalibrate its position in the world. Um, and it really makes me think about the character Data in Star Trek, who is maybe one of the best characters in the history of media that really just makes us examine what it means to be human, especially in relation to technology. Um, because with Data, that the character, we have an android that is nearly indistinguishable from a human. He's this super advanced AI, and he's like 98% there. And there's this remaining 2% that is this like gaping, enormous chasm of an uncanny valley that reminds of us all of all the intangibles that makes us human. Um, and so I'm very curious as these AI art machines play out, as they share their dreams with us, just how these remaining slivers of humanity that are left over and out of the machine's grasp, how will we find them and embrace them? How will this shape humanity's position in the world, and how will it affect the runes that we put on the door? Um, so I love this bot that was made. And if you're not following this account, please do. It's amazing. And then what else is great is there's a bot in the Forgotten Runes Discord where you can go there now and try it out. You can give it a prompt, and it'll spit out a piece of AI art for any wizard that you want. And there's a wiki page that explains all the different prompts and how to use the bot. So you can get pretty clever with your prompts. And I think I was talking to Waz this morning. I think we can really build this thing out and add to it. What I love is, like, there's all these AI art tools out there, and maybe people don't want to, like, go through the hassle of, like, finding them and learning how to use them. uh, just come to our Discord and you can use one there. And it's really, really accessible and easy. So, yeah, those are some of the things I've just discovered just this morning that have been blowing my mind. Um, yeah, I'm going to stop there for a sec.
Yeah, I've it's been really interesting to see the deep dream, the like the stable diffusion dolly art tools come out. It's really, especially in the middle of like a bear market, it's definitely kind of like made me be have this phase of being really introspective about like what is the next step. I think like this bear market has really given me that like reflection over the past year, and the projects that we've seen quite a lot of just how fast this last year moved. A lot of the ideas that felt like so brand new and fresh and novel and interesting like a year ago now sort of feel a little bit tired, right? I felt like even by the time I got access to Dolly, I was like almost over it in some sense, or over like my initial set of ideas. At the same time, I also feel like Stable Diffusion and Dolly are almost like a new Google. That there's like a lot of ideas that we kind of that come to us naturally that like are sort of obvious, but then there's all of these pieces of artwork that have like never been explored, that have like never been pulled out of it yet. It's just this like infinite well of creativity that like no one has ever seen the pictures that it can produce. So it's also exciting in that way. But then what does it mean for artwork? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think any of us really know. I mean, I've got my first impressions, but I think there's still a lot to come. I compared it to the advent of photography a few weeks ago, and I think this development is honestly just as significant. I think the art Ouroboros has gone a full cycle with this AI art machine. Um, but I like what you said the other day, Dota. How, like, it's really fortunate that this technology is coming out right in the middle of the Runiverse being born. Um, it's just such a great tool for cult content.
And it's also such an interesting like moment for us to like start with pixel art and have that be like basically the primitive. So, well,
Yes.
well, we've got a bunch of questions in the secret tower, so I can go over question and answer if you're ready for that.
Yeah, please.
Let's see here. So SPZ says beating a dead horse here, but will you mint out the ponies and do more competitions? So the answer is yes. Yes, I will mint out the ponies. I think there's maybe about 100 that we'll kind of have in our stable, and we have plans for them. We have some pretty fun plans within, let's see, the next 2 or 3 months that we can use. I don't think that we're going to be keeping all 100 of those. So, yeah, we'll be doing that before too long.
Yes, the
The
the cult will have access to these remaining ponies. Let's put it that way.
For the most part. I mean, we'll keep a
Yep.
few, but yeah.
Yep. Yep.
In what Tad asks, in what ways can an actor of the member of the cult be most helpful in furthering the current vision of Magic Machine? And he gives some examples. Location-based lore, recruiting new holders, new art commissions, participating in game releases. What sort of actions from us could be most helpful for your short and long-term goals? I mean, I think that the longest term goal that's like the most important one is just this idea around like, tell like creating, right? We always talk about that the one thing that the cult asks for you is to just create in earnest. And so I think that the idea around like developing a character in an art form that you're interested in and passionate about is like the most like it's the most fundamental, most important thing that you could do, right? It's like putting your rune on the door. And so I don't think that changes at all. Maybe I have some tactical ideas. Like I do think that there's this interesting idea around like, well, how do we grow holders? And part of that just comes through like, telling people in other chats that you have about why you think it's a good project. But I don't know. I sort of feel like anyone has been doing that. Um, Anyone who holds a Wizard NFT has surely done that the whole time. And the market is weird. People aren't exactly like, testing out a lot of new projects. So I think that's something that would be helpful, but at the same time, ultimately the goal of this project is like create a world. And so, one of the things that I would actually love to see more of is like longer form content. One of the discussions that we had, particularly in sales, but it's been in the air the last couple of weeks, is like who are like the main characters of the universe that we can kind of latch onto. And you have to kind of like, you have Lord of the Rings, right? You have like Frodo and Bilbo and Gandalf. Like you have these characters that stand out in your mind, and you have Harry Potter, and you have um, like in all of these like in Star Wars, you have Luke Skywalker, and like of course you have these other characters that you kind of build on the franchise, but um, you start with one person and then you grow out from there. And maybe that's something that I think that we're all sort of feeling a little bit right now, which is we have our individual characters. We're like starting to kind of like squint and like form the resolution of the universe world, but we don't have kind of this like single character narrative that you can follow all the way through. And I would like we're working on that, right, for the comic books and the show, and I'm sure Elf has ideas here, but I think I'm really interested to see more kind of like long form content, both from like whatever tools you already have available to you and also building more tools in that area. Because I think, yeah, like just telling the stories and building the world is the most important thing.
Yeah, if I could just say one word, it would be world build. That's the most valuable thing. Um, but like that means so many different things. That can mean obviously like build out your character, develop your character. It can mean create cult content. I think it can also mean like recruit more members into the cult. Just like expand our audience. And yeah, like to your point of longer form content. I would say like yes, definitely longer form, and I would also say like um, alternate forms of content.
Yeah.
Like like of course I love seeing illustrations and poems and stories and all the more like traditional content, but there's so many different forms cult content can take. I mean, like Sammy Kitty has been doing a lot of really cool stuff lately, like painting on plates and making a hairbrush and just like really unconventional
Yeah.
like mediums. I love that. I love the like
Yeah.
little short pixel films that I've been seeing people make. I love like Tanya, I saw Tanya made a knitted kobold head. There's it's just like infinite the amount of kinds of content you can make, or even like the Feral of the Untamed Twitter games. That's a form of world building, and it's like what's beautiful about it is many people think, well, I can't draw, so I can't participate. No, you definitely can. There's so many ways to create something. I truly believe like literally everyone can make cult content about their character or about the world. You just got to
I
find the
totally
medium that
agree.
speaks to you.
Yeah, I love seeing like hearing songs. I think are so special. Um, yeah, Sammy Kitty's stuff has just been on fire
Yep.
lately. Like, yeah,
I think it's
Yep.
cool also, like as we work with Darren on the show and look at those breakout characters, I think something that, came to bear with the teaser, the trailer that we made was like, this is before Waz joined the Magic Machine team, is like he created so much that he ended up in that trailer. And I think for us, we would love, like, the ultimate goal is for people to sort of make their character legendary so that we can then integrate them into these things, right? Like, so we have conversations around, okay, well, what's the ensemble cast? What does it look like? Who are people that they run into along, the season 1 and 2 and 3 and all that. And I think the more that the cult creates, the more opportunity we have to be able to, like, shine a light on those people. And so it's, in a lot of ways, like, we're shaping that main canon, and the more that the cult creates, the more that, like, the cult can be a part of the canon, and, like, that line gets blurred a little bit more.
That's the vision.
Yeah. So I think and because we're just still at the beginning here, like, there's so much opportunity for people to for people just to create and end up in a place that, like, is, in a comic book, in a television show, in the games, all that stuff.
Yep. What other questions do we have?
I think it was Sharon's asked to hear about some of your animal encounters in South Africa.
Yeah, I'm seeing a few people ask about that. Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about my trip. So, yeah, I mean, my other passion in life is animals. I used to live in Costa Rica, and I would spend a lot of time in the rainforest. And this is the second time I've been to Africa. And I just really love animals. And one of the things about South Africa is they've got this amazing park called Kruger Park, and it's absolutely enormous. I mean, it would take probably 2 days to travel through the entire thing if you didn't stop. And the biodiversity there is just incredible. It's got all the megafauna that you think of, like lions and hippos and buffalo and leopards. But it's also got, like, just countless birds and smaller animals and antelope, and it's just you go out into the park and every day you see something new. Um, and it's there's the scientific lore, or the biological lore of these ecosystems, are it's just so rich and dense, and it gave me a lot of inspiration on how I'd like to design the natural lore of the universe, when it comes to that. I even had this idea that I would love to, like just do a book that's just like the flora and fauna of the universe, and just make it this, like, really dense naturalist take on the plants and animals of the universe, and sort of in the vein of, like, Charles Darwin or Jane Goodall, or even like Steve Irwin. And so, yeah,
That's a
it was
challenge. Who's going to be the Steve Irwin of the universe?
Yeah,
yeah,
we're gonna need
totally.
Slim to help us out there. Yeah.
I love Steve Irwin so much. He was one of the greatest people to ever live. But yeah, it was just very inspiring. I think some of the animals that really interested me the most, and this is going to sound weird. It wasn't the lions, it wasn't the leopards, it wasn't the giraffes. It was the antelope. Um, because there's so many different species of antelope. There's like over 90. Like the big cats. There's like 4 or 5. There's like the lion, the leopard, the cheetah, the caracal, the serval, maybe a few others. And then there's like only 2 rhinoceroses, and there's like 1 giraffe, and but the antelope, there's so freaking many of them, and they're all different, and they all, like, play their own role in their own ecological niche, and they're amazing. And it's like, I don't know, the more common animals to me are sometimes the more interesting ones. So I don't know. the antelope have given me a really interesting idea that I want to like play out in the universe later.
I think
So
people. I'd like to know. Let's just get down to business. Were you attacked? Did you have any near-death experiences?
you know
Is
what?
there any
I
juicy
actually
story?
did. Yeah, no, I did. Okay, first of all, here's what else is amazing about Kruger. Um, you don't have to have a guide when you're driving through the park. You can self drive. You can drive yourself. Um, and like there's
That
no one
sounds
around
safe.
there around to protect you, no one around to like tell you where to go. You just like do it yourself. And so one thing that often happens is there's going to be like a full grown elephant in the road, and it's like you're the only two. uh it's you against the elephant, and there's like no one there to tell you like what to do in this situation. And the elephants will taunt you. They will flap their ears, they will literally throw things at the car, and they will growl this like really deep rumble. This happened like 2 or 3 times, and it's very scary because they will crush cars. There are photos of elephants crushing cars at the rest stops in Kruger. Um, so yeah, I had like one or two or 2 or 3 standoffs with an elephant. Um, and then I also had a full-grown giraffe kick at the car. Um, and its hoof like literally went over the car. It was so tall. So yeah, there were some close calls. Kruger is it's not for the faint of heart. You gotta be on your guard there.
What are the
Okay.
instructions for standing down an elephant?
Run, run.
Put the car in reverse. No, no. Honestly, like I think if you just hold your ground, they'll back off. Because like it's all posturing. At least the experiences I had. Um, and I could be wrong, but it might be like a bear where you don't want to run because if you do that, then you're admitting weakness and then they'll chase you. I don't know if an elephant will do that, but I just held my ground. It's funny. I went with my parents, and I'm gonna blame the elephant encounters on my dad. He's the one who like got all excited about taunting them. I'm like, Dad, don't. We're, we're
Oh my
gonna get
God,
crushed.
Papa Elf, what are you doing?
Oh yeah,
This is
no
a kind of a
elephant.
tangent. This is kind of a tangent, but like, can you can you describe what a rest stop is in the middle of like a place like that? Like, are you getting sandwiches? Or is there a bathroom?
Yeah,
Especially in
no,
DC.
no, they have these like big, like I don't know, lodges just like peppered throughout the park. And there's like electric fence around them. And so you can go into these places and use the bathroom and get food, and they're really nice actually. But yeah, I mean that's what they are.
That's cool. I got
Yep.
to get over there.
Yeah, it's great. I highly recommend it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna jump on another Spaces next Wednesday and talk more about my African trip. I don't want to dominate Wizard Wednesday with it, but yeah, that's the short version.
Well, we're happy to have you back, man.
It's good to be back. I thought about the universe the entire time.
Mhm.
Uh,
Hey, Matto, do you want to address a little bit? Can you talk about like the warm wallet NFT and the folks coming in today talking about like renting for 10 KTF quests? Could you give us like a little bit of like context there of how you see it?
Yeah, sure. So I think 10KTF they're doing like some wizard exclusive quests. Pretty sure it's like starting either if it's not today, like sometime very soon, like this week. As a result, there's like a lot of newcomers who are coming from the 10KTF community and Discord, and they're just asking about like, hey guys, is anybody looking to rent their wizard to me so I can participate in the quest? Recently, when New Labs, the team behind 10KTF, they actually did release this app that allows you to connect your cold wallet to like a hot wallet and kind of like create like a warm wallet. It's warm.xyz. Um, it's great for security, but the purpose of it was made so that you can interact with their contracts and any compatible contracts using a wallet that doesn't hold your valuables, but instead acts as a proxy wallet. So, like, their contract will read that that wallet is connected to your main wallet. You don't have to expose your main wallet to, potentially if there's like a fake phishing leak or whatever, you'll be safe. Because it was made for this purpose, it's meant for you to just use with wallets that you own. Um, as an unintended side effect of that, though, you can delegate your wallet to like anybody really. And so there's even like a time limit that you can put on it. So if you want to like put it for like 1 or 2 days, you can. Um, so there are people who are coming in asking, hey, can anybody pretty much delegate their wizard to me if you're not using it? So that way I can use it for the 10K TF quest. Some of them will probably like pay you for your troubles, like they'll actually rent it for you, and then maybe they'll ask for like 3 days, whatever. Um, and as far as I see, I mean, it doesn't look like there's any like at first glance, it doesn't look like there's any like real risk involved, but it's very new. So it's really hard to really distinguish what the scope of what they can potentially do with it is. Somebody I thought of maybe perhaps fact that maybe if you give them your like you delegate your wizard to them, that maybe they can write in your book of lore and put like profanity in it or whatever. But I
Interesting.
think somebody already tested that, and apparently you can't. It needs to be contracts that are actually compatible with the warm wallet to interact with. Um, but just in general, I'd say we're probably going to see an influx of them as they go on. Just be nice to them. I don't think a lot of them seem like they're particularly trying to scam. They're just legitimately trying to rent some wizards. It's a bit sketchy. I personally don't think I would trust delegating my wizard to any of them. Um, and that's not just to say like no, they're bad people. Just it's so new that I don't really trust you know doing that quite yet. Um, and just in general, I would say be polite to them. If you aren't interested in it, just kind of kindly let them know that you're maybe concerned about security risk, whatever. And if you are interested, I would say just be very careful. Like I said, like it doesn't immediately it doesn't seem like it's a huge security risk, but be careful, especially if there's anybody who tries to fish using this because it's brand new and because like a lot of people probably don't realize how to really do it. The main site is warm.xyz, but somebody could send you a phishing link to, warm.org or whatever if they happen to have that for whatever reason.
Mhm.
And, if you connect your wallet to it and you're like, yeah, just sign this message and it's perfectly safe, you can end up losing your stuff. So just be very careful. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to post in the security channel in our Discord. I'll walk you through to the best of my abilities. I can't encourage you to do it, but I'm not going to discourage you if it's something that you want to do. Just be very careful if you want to do it.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, when we had a couple of folks kind of come in offering to like rent wizards to go on quests, I was sort of like kind of hesitant and
Right.
you know, uh, but then we had like I don't, two or three people come in and say the same, so like it seems real. But yeah, like you said, probably warm is safe, but then you just have to be so careful, right? This happened with pseudo swap a lot in the early days because it was a way that you could kind of do over the counter trades, or you still can, but in the early version. But then what would happen is people would sort of buy domains that looked like the real pseudo domain. And then when you actually make a deal and go to switch, what ends up happening is you're going to a phishing site that was made to look like the site that would have been safe. The real site is safe, but you got sent to a phishing site that looked the same. And so, yeah, whenever you're kind of making transactions with people you don't really know yet, just be very very careful. Cool. Thank you. Well, we are still having the lock and sacred flame warrior golden weapon forging event soon. We will let you know the date for that as soon as we have it, but you can expect it quite soon. I don't have
Yeah, I
anything more
was.
to add there. You?
Yeah, I was actually. Yeah, I was actually going to ask if you had mentioned that yet, and how many details you've revealed.
We can reveal all the details as far as you want to. We talked about it last week.
Sweet. Yeah. I mean, okay, for anyone who doesn't know, just to be clear, this is an event where if you own a gold lock and a sacred flame, you will be able to forge those onto a warrior weapon and receive an entirely new weapon. Um, One really fun thing about this is that the locks, not only are they made of gold or quantum material, but they also have a spell inscribed on them that will also play a role in the weapon you get. Um, so yeah, it's going to be a really cool event. And furthermore, I know that there's only like 42 locks out there, so not very many people are going to be able to participate. There will be future, let's say, events that will potentially allow you to also forge a gold weapon. Let's put it that way.
Yes, well, and I think one of the things that you and I will sit down and do is we'll put a firm cap on that number, right? One of the things that people were talking about is saying, well, the cost of a lock and the cost of the flame summed together, like how many of these gold weapons are there going to be? How do I know if I do it now if it's going to be worth it in the future? So I think, yeah, we will have like a small number of golden items that will allow for a few more golden weapons. But I don't think it'll be a large scale thing. It'll be relatively small, though we'll give a definitive number before we initiate the gilded warrior forging event.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. These weapons will ultimately be very, very rare. Um, but
And
but
they
yeah,
look.
it's it'll be very cool. Speaking of weapons, another thing I missed was sword timber. um, I, I came back and I just saw sword timber everywhere. I still don't even know what sword timber is. Can somebody explain it to me?
I I think that
I
it's
feel like
like
Locke. I feel
yeah.
like Locke should come up and explain it if
Yeah.
Locke's here.
I think from
Locke,
what I
you out there?
gathered, from what I gathered, there's a lot of art, like a lot of artists on Twitter. They tend to gather around kind of like themes for the month, and they like put like a hashtag for it, so that way everyone can kind of like show off a portfolio or sort, and like kind of show the craft. I think Sword Timber just happens to be like that because a lot when you look at the tag, it's like a lot of artists that are completely nothing related to the Runiverse, but they're their own artists putting out their own works. There's a lot of cool creative designs in there. I think also what's really cool about it is that if you look through it, I think I've gotten a lot of inspiration from like what like really cool things you do with weapons. One thing that I think I've mentioned a lot of times before is that the warriors and wizards, all these tokens, because like they don't have as much fidelity, it gives you a lot of wiggle room to imagine and build off of them in ways that are really creative. So like even if you have just like a regular like if you have like a cutlass or whatever with your warrior, perhaps it's a special cutlass and you can write that in your lore. Like a lot of these designs are really creative. Like I saw one that Jitsi retweeted. It was like a water sword. It was like a cup that like spews out water and like it can like convert that water into ice. So it can like change its shape if you want it to be like an axe or like a sword and stuff. That was a really cool idea. Like concepts like that are great, and like I would love to see like more people like go with their weapons and like create something cool with it like that.
Yep. Amazing. I've been seeing a lot of cool stuff with sword timber. Maxwell drew a really great sword, and yeah, it's just such a fun idea. I didn't know if like it was a thing that already existed or is this like an original Runiverse event, but apparently it's been a thing for a while.
It's a thing. And also, Witchtober is also a thing, if you didn't know.
Wait, is that AKA Halloween?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. But lots of drawings of witches will come hither next month.
Great, awesome. Yeah, I told the team this the other day, but I think like my new favorite head in the whole wizard collection is the green witch head with the long nose. we just finished the 3D model for that one the other day, and it just looks amazing. It's so cute. I think she's one of my favorite characters.
Oh, we haven't even introduced Frog Eater to the cult yet. I don't think we
Have
should
we
definitely.
not?
No, we definitely should get him up here maybe next
We
week.
definitely should. I don't even know if he's in the
This
audience right now,
space. Yeah,
but yeah,
so
we'll bring him
so
up next week.
we hired a new 3D like modeler artist, Frog Eater, and he's just so good. I mean,
Oh
so
man.
Molly has been kind of like the lead on concept design for the 3D models, and is of course extremely talented. And so, but it's just like to model the whole collection. There's so much work, and so yeah, we brought on Frog Eater, and he's just so talented. We've commissioned work from him before, I believe, and we
We
just
have.
loved it so much that we brought him on. And yeah, and I think that he modeled the green witch head, which we should share soon and introduce him to everyone.
Yep, for sure. We'll bring him up. Yeah, he's great. I'm so excited about the 3D models. I know it's taking a while, but they're just so good looking, and I can't wait to see like what we do with them and what the cult does with them, because we've got so many plans for these things.
Yeah, and 3D models are just so dynamic, right? So you put them in tons of different contexts, change lighting, put them in video games, put them in artwork. You can, with some care, you can squish and stretch them to put them in like sort of different art styles for video games and things like that. So it's just, yeah, endless
Yep.
opportunity.
It's what's interesting is Clone X released 3D models, and I think there's some like you can like tweak them in Blender. That community's really been doing some cool stuff with their models, and yeah, it gets me really excited about what we're gonna see with ours. And just like kudos to Elf and Molly and Frog Eater. I think it takes a minute to like even develop a style. We've gone through. I feel like we're Pixar here, where like you go down a road and you realize, okay, there's a better version of this, and then you have to like weigh whether or not do you just keep going even though you feel like there's a better direction. And of course, we're always going to side on like, okay, well, let's just do the best thing we possibly can, even if it means like pushing out the delivery date. And so just kudos to Elf and everybody on that team, because I think the wait will be totally worthwhile.
Yeah, the design that we have now is um it's this like high end low poly but like very dynamic style, right? It's not so stylized that it can only appear in like one uh like style of world, but it's not so generic that they feel bland either. So it's just this like perfect blend that you could use it in like a low poly film.
Yeah,
Yep.
and if Alpha will release his super grip, maybe we can share some art soon.
We'll definitely share some soon.
It's hard to
Uh,
peel back those fingers, Alpha.
yeah. You know what? Speaking of other artists, we also, I don't know if we're allowed to say this, but I saw Dr. Slurp asked in the Discord about when Soul Walk cycles are
Yeah,
coming.
and we've got a team on that, and we're very close. We've actually implemented those twice as well, because yeah, we got a first round that didn't quite seal the deal, and so I think that we've got another team working on, which I think we'll keep internal, of like 3 or 4 people that are extremely talented who are helping us do the soul walk cycles, and I don't think we're 2 months away from having that. Is that right?
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Hopefully less than 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah. There's some padding in that.
Yep. Um, yeah. There's so much going on. I'm gonna call out some cult content, and then I'm gonna drop a surprise at the end.
Ooh.
We've got like 9 minutes left. So what? Speaking of things that are just always happening, and I'm just now like noticing is like, one thing I see a lot, and I think I'm just now acknowledging it, is Hen Boyd, like every week drops this really great image of a tavern with like wizards sitting at a bar drinking, and he always announces Wizard Wednesday with this. And I think I'm just now getting around to just like even acknowledging it, but it's been happening for months, and I love it. It's like I get this warm feeling now every time I see it. Yep, there it is. And you know what's really fun about it is it's got DJ Gwendolyn in this bar spinning records, and like even though she's the most famous DJ in the Runiverse, she's like still indie enough to just spin at this local tavern. Um, so you know, I love this image that Hen Boyd always shares. Um, and then I mentioned this earlier, but this plate that Sammy Kitty made is just so great. It's got all these familiars painted around the rim of the plate. You know, talk about like alternative media. It's really fun. And then another thing I mentioned earlier is Tanya's kobold head. Now I do have a few issues with it. It's a fantastic kobold head. However, she had to ruin it by saying Team Green when basically the entire cult knows that kobolds are yellow. So, um, you know, so maybe that was a typo. I don't know, Tanya,
Oh,
but she did put the ears on it, which I think I've been swayed over to Team Ears and not Team Horns. Um, so uh, so
I think they're
maybe it's redeemed.
green. I'll go to the mat on the green versus yellow thing, even though you actually drew the pixels. It just hits me as green. It hits me as green.
Alf,
Okay.
Alf, if kobolds are green, what color are Anorons? They have the same exact color scheme.
Wait, what color are what? What'd you say?
The Anorons, the frog heads.
Oh, yeah, the Anurans. Yeah. Well, yeah, that I don't know. I'm willing to go either way on that. But let me here. I think here's like an undeniable point. The kobolds are the exact same color as the yellow wizard hats, and obviously those are yellow. So case
Are they
closed.
really the same color? They're the same color.
Oh,
They're the
that's
same
Yeah,
color.
they're
Yes.
wow,
the same color. Yeah, take
amazing.
a color picture and go right to them.
Maybe I'm
This
converting
is
over to
this
Team
is where I
Yellow.
this is where I have to decide whether or not just to go against fact and just dig in. But I'll probably just give it up.
Yeah, so anyway, moving on. Tabitha of the Marsh did a really great piece for Sword Timber. Um, it looks like this really cool stained glass window. Um, so yeah, I mean, more great stuff with Sword Timber. And then Emma has been making these really great magic cards.
They're
Um,
amazing. They're
I
incredible.
love them.
Dota, I knew you would love him. And you know what? Here's what I really love about him. Like, if you read the cards, you can tell that Emma is like a real Magic player because these
Yep.
cards, they're just really well. What's the word? Like built or constructed. Like you want to use these cards in the game. Um,
Yeah.
they're really well designed, and then like even the flavor text at the bottom is super fun. And she's made so many of these. So I Dota, I knew you would love him because you're the one who's always asking for magic cards.
Yes, I know. I've been playing Magic with my kids too. These like past couple of weeks. You know, we take some time on, time off, and it would be really fun. I don't know how much work it is to put together like a full Forgotten Runes like bootleg like
Yeah.
meta deck, but that would just be so
It's a lot
fun.
of work.
Yeah,
It's a lot of
it's a
work.
lot of
Bear's
work.
been looking into it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking in and then slowly backing away.
Yeah. But yeah, so
I don't
no,
know.
so then oh go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was just gonna say, I don't know if you wanted. We probably don't want to elaborate, but I know that Joda, you were in the secret tower, dropping some alpha about stuff that's happening in the future. I guess you probably didn't want to talk about that in more detail.
Which stuff? If I had talked about it in the
Just
Secret Tower,
you were just talking about. I think it was in response to like the fact that there really aren't that many locks, and that there's some
oh,
stuff happening in the future.
oh yeah, yeah.
Too
So we have okay. So we have. Well, let me think here.
far
One,
away.
Two, we'll start there because you got to save your announcements for when it's so there's at least two airdrops on the books for the next 2 months if I can code fast enough. Like I think hopefully one in September and definitely one in October. So and those will be quite broad, right? There's not going to be very strict requirements in terms of like, you have to write lore or anything like that. I think we're maybe out of that phase for a little bit in term because we've set the culture for the community. I think these will be very broad in terms of just like, um, well, what for the most, I don't want to paint myself in a corner, but for the most part, it'll be more along the lines of like one wizard, one airdrop. So that will be very fun, and I think everyone will like them and have fun with these tokens once we drop them. I've even got a third in mind, but we can only do so much at once. So we'll still want more airdrops in November, I suppose.
Something that I really love, and I'll keep it vague, but something that I really love about what we have planned in the next couple of months is like there's some really neat mechanics around like cross collaboration, not only within the cult but with other communities. And so I'm excited. I'm excited about that because I think there's room for people to discover what we're doing, and obviously we're fine with being patient and in the long run. But I'm excited to see other people sort of be drawn to our system that we've created. So it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think that, I think that one of the things that you'll see from me and from us with like every airdrop is like a different mechanic in terms of like who gets it, how many, what behaviors are we incentivizing, who are we trying to draw in, or are we trying to reward like the base and to what degree? And so, we for sure have not explored the sort of idea space of airdrops, and there's like all of these kind of like things that we want to incentivize or correct for, and so yeah, it should be really fun.
It's definitely going to be fun. I'm really excited about it. Um, I mean, we say this all the time, but that's the thing about NFTs is, and really just blockchain in general is there's so much blue sky ahead of us,
Yeah,
so much
100%.
innovation, so
Yeah.
many ideas that have not even been realized yet. And that, for me, that's one of the funnest things about this project is just the creativity is just constantly rewarded. Not only creativity in art and aesthetics, but creativity in tokenomics and game mechanics and um, everything else. So I
And
think that's
it
what.
is
Go ahead.
I think it's also cool because we're really cognizant of like what's going on out in the broader sort of Web3 ecosystem, and there'll be things that we want to do, and if someone does something similar, we immediately like scratch it off the list and force ourselves to come up with something different, um, which I think we wear as a badge of honor. Like everything we do, we want to have like a facet of innovation, which I think is great. We hold ourselves to a high standard.
Well, the funny thing is like we've got so many damn ideas that we don't have enough time or manpower to execute them. Like I wish you guys could see our weekly all hands meetings. Like all of us just throw out several ideas every single meeting, and the hardest part is not executing them, but like selecting which ones we need to execute.
Yeah, and when exactly?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Um
Before you post your big announcement, I posted a link to a paper that I thought was really interesting in the Secret Tower, which is around like color naming in different languages. And so it's this idea that sort of the like different languages have more colors in like the like green and yellow space, right? Like the commonly well-known colors for green in English, there's only like three or four, whereas in some other languages like French, they have like a better word for this like cobalt green. And so yeah, it's for
Dude, I
sure worth
just
looking
as
into.
long as long as it helps my cause of cobalts being green, I'm fine with it. I'm seeing an
well,
opening.
I think, I mean, if I had to guess, I would guess that in the native kobold tongue that there's really only one color, and it's yellow. So um, yeah, that's very appropriate, Dota. Thanks. This is
Yep.
really cool.
Yep.
There's a few more pieces of cult content I want to call out. Uh, Twitter user Maui at Wuwinda. She's been doing a lot of really great artwork lately. I was really drawn to this warrior that she drew, and it's just great. I don't know. There's something about it that just I just always get so excited when I see like the original pixel art and then how an artist has interpreted it. That's one of the most fun components of this entire project, I think. Seeing how the creative primitive is expressed in these other forms of artwork. So yeah, really great stuff from Maui. And then RYF, every week he's got some great content. This rendition of his seven-tailed kitsune by Blanc NFT. It's just beautiful. I love the palette, the pinks and the purples and the reds. And then I saw Emma put this on a magic card. It's just gorgeous. And then here's a fun discovery. We now know where the baby wizard's orphanage is in the Runeverse. Apparently, it is nestled between the Elysian Fields and Rabbit Lake on some little idyllic little green hill. So the baby wizards do have an orphanage. We now know. Um, and then finally, Lords Arista. I know I'm not saying that right. Um, they were introduced to Forgotten Runes, and they did this really great piece of artwork to commemorate it. And it's just it's I think it's a Goblin Warrior with a Black Panther. It's just beautiful. So welcome to the cult. Um, oh, and then Chuck Cage has this really great new portrait of their wizard. Um, really great stuff. Uh, oh, and then finally, Two Crows. Maybe you guys mentioned this last time, but Two Crows has been making these really great hats that they say Two Crows ate my duck. Have you guys seen these?
I wear them. I wear it daily.
So good. I need to get one.
Everybody's like, "What does that hat mean?" And I'm like, "I don't have time to explain it."
Yeah, totally. Uh, that, by the way, is like the best kind of cult content where you don't have time to explain it.
I
But
started trying to explain it to like the barista at the coffee shop near the Bear Cave, and I was like 60 seconds in, and they were looking at me like that was an insane person, and
Oh,
I just
Bear
stopped.
Bear saved his local coffee shop from being robbed. We didn't even have time for that today.
Oh my
wait,
god!
what?
For
Yeah.
another day. For another day, maybe.
Oh wow.
I
Oh yeah.
stopped. I stopped a perpetrator. But maybe
Um.
next week. We'll talk about it next week.
Okay, I just have one question now. Did you do it by using that really strong arm that you have that you used to beat me in arm wrestling?
May as well have.
You know what? I didn't. I didn't have to enable the arm itself, but I think just wielding the arm, maybe. I don't know. There was. I will
Okay.
say there was a moment. There was a moment where the perpetrator was going to run. It seemed like,
What?
and they like looked me up and down. They were like basically judging whether or not I could catch them, and and then they decided the right choice, and that is to not do the thing.
Oh, do we need to have a sprinting contest? You know that Elf was a track star in high
So,
school.
I was a track
Elf,
star.
Elf, I ran track. So do we have to bring it from the arm to the
Yep.
legs? Oh my
Okay.
Yep.
god!
Maybe I can redeem
Ooh.
myself.
Yeah, you might be able to.
I don't know. I might be putting on some weight. I'm pretty light in the toes though.
All right. Well,
Oh my god!
next time I come to the bear cave.
We're gonna end up having like a decathlon between me
Yeah.
and you.
Yeah.
The Iron Wizard.
Yeah.
Oh my god, let's do
Amazing.
this. Okay, this is good. We're gonna do this.
um. Okay. Well, yeah. I'm gonna drop my surprise, but like now wondering if like maybe you guys have already announced this, so maybe it's not even a surprise. But I'm gonna treat it like it is. So people have been asking for months. Elf, where's your TED talk? And I feel like a lot of you might have even
Oh.
thought, did
Mm-hmm.
you guys announce it already?
No, 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 no.
No.
We didn't.
Okay, okay, awesome. Yeah. So no, I feel like a lot of people were like, he's probably lying about this TED talk. It probably never happened. No, it happened. It's out, and I'm gonna put it right now in the secret tower.
And
And
So
and peep the jacket. Peep the jacket he's
yeah,
wearing.
and
yes,
it,
peep the jacket. Give it a watch, and honestly, give it a like because it only has 7 likes right now. um,
Give it some
and
love, guys. Give it some love.
yeah, give it a like and a comment. We need the TED people to know that this is one of the best or one of the most interesting TED talks that's ever been that's ever happened. So yeah, there I am, fully doxxed. Well, at least my face is. um,
Emma gave it oh, we have 9. We're up to 9
yeah,
likes right now.
yeah,
Let's get into double digits.
yeah. So yeah, there it is, guys. Enjoy. I talked about the Runiverse and world building, or decentralized world building. It was really fun. I'll tell you, it's one of the funniest things about it was like there was um there was a few other people giving TED talks when I got in there. Like I think they like do them all in one day. And the people before me, I gotta say they didn't have as much stage presence as old Elf J Troll.
Oh.
Um, they well, and here's why I say that because like it took them several times and they did several takes. That's something I just learned about TED Talks is they're not like totally live. Like you can do several takes. Um, but but I'm not kidding. I literally went up there and I did the whole thing in one take without stop, without cuts. And so what you're seeing is like the only like take I did. It's like legit from the heart. So there you go.
It's awesome. Great job, man.
that's
Great job.
great fun.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we are definitely out of time. Anything else, guys?
Nope.
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Well, this has been Wizard Wednesday channeling out from the Quantum Downs. This is Elf.
And Dota.
Ember.
G
And
in
Mago.
everybody.
Bye, Matazuki. Bye, Tanya. Baron Von Fancy. Magus was here. Goodbye.
Meu comportamento diante musical